welcome back to my channel, to the Witchy Reader. So we are going to do a tag I created. It's an author tube tag called the Monster High Writing Tag. And around a year ago, because I did it last year in October, I created the Monster High book tag. And so this is somewhat similar, but it's the Monster High Writing Tag. So it's about your own characters, your own books that you have written. I wanted to show you my cup. Uncle Iroh, for my Avatar Last Airbender fans. I have an Uncle Iroh cup. It's the scene when Iroh found that flower, and he was like, this flower can create delectable tea, or is it deadly poison? So it says delectable tea or deadly poison. I'm willing to risk it. Okay, let's get started. How many questions do I have on here? Because I'm not sure. I have 20. Okay. So, at first, the first 6 questions are characters. Then we have some couples, some friendships, some movies, and then just a couple other things. Okay, so ready? Number 1 is Draculaura, a character who's supposed to be dark but has a huge light inside. Because she's daughter of Dracula, and she's, supposed to be all dark like Dracula, but she's really not. I chose Ruby from my book, A Witch's Bond. So she is a centuries old witch, and she's supposed to be kind of dark because the rest of the witches in her coven is, including her mother, who is the leader of the coven, and she's supposed to be the next leader of the coven. But, she's the opposite of everyone in her coven, especially her mother. Number 2 is Twyla, a character who's comfortable in their own skin. I chose Vivian from, Skeleton Bride, that's the name of the first book. The series name is Tales of the Grim Reaper. She is a human, and she is she's an activist, and she's very comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't care what people think, and she kind of has this whole hipster look going on. So yeah. Number 3, Abbey Bominable, your strongest character. Anastasia, also from Tales of the Grim Reaper. She's a skeleton, and by this is emotional strength and not physical. With Twyla, I chose that because, she's comfortable in her own skin, and Abbey is a very strong character. Anastasia is very strong. She's been through a lot, just her death alone, and her life when she was alive wasn't that great, and yeah, so she's very strong. 4, Lagoona Blue, a character who has to face their biggest fear, because she has to face her biggest fear is Great Scary Reef. I chose Ember and Maybelle from, I haven't actually come up with, I'm still working on the title of the book. But it's my fairy and mermaid book. Ember's a fairy and Mabel's a mermaid, and the two of them are supposed to be enemies, and they were at first because it's what they were told their entire lives, but then they end up keep meeting up and find out they actually care about each other and become best friends. And their greatest fear is going against their worlds, Mabel's mermaid world and Ember's fairy world. But then their friendship became so important to them that that's all that mattered. So they were willing to risk everything to save one another and be able to be friends in peace. Clawdeen Wolf, your favorite LGBTQ character, because for those of you that did not know, the creators confirmed Clawdeen is a lesbian. I chose a few. Ruby from A Witch's Bond, because she is asexual. And Alex from A Witch's Bond as well, because he's also asexual. Jax from Jasmine Perez series. He is bisexual. And then Skylar from The Curses Light, which will be published in a couple of days on Halloween. For those of you that want to be able to get a copy, it'll be available in ebook, paperback, and hardcover, like my Draculaura and Clawd series. But anyways, Skylar is an asexual biromantic. Number 6 is Valentine, a big betrayal. Because he betrayed Draculaura. Lucas from Jasmine Press series, he betrayed Jasmine. He was supposed to be her fiance, but turns out he was working with Lilac the entire time, and he betrayed her to help his girlfriend. 7. Draculaura and Clawd, a forbidden relationship, because vampire werewolf forbidden. I chose Rosalinda and Harry from Power Within because they are not supposed to be together. Harry works for the Queen, and they recruited Rosalinda along with Anna, Gabriella, and Elizabeth because they are the 4 girls, the 4 chosen ones, the 4 girls with each can wield a different element, and they're the only ones that can stop the Queen's brother Dylan and the necromancer who works for him, Avok. Harry is supposed to be their protector and nothing more, and it's supposed to be professional between him and the 4 girls, but he couldn't deny the connection he shared with Rosalinda, who is the main character. 8. Twyla and Howleen, a best friends to lovers. I know they never get together, but I ship them, and they're best friends, and I love their friendship, but I also want them to be more because I ship them a lot. So, yeah. I went with Melinda and Alicia from A Witch's Bond, and I also went with Ruby and Alex from A Witch's Bond as well, because there's 2 friends to lovers in that one. Melinda and Alicia have been best friends since childhood, and they've also been best friends with Alex since childhood. All 3 of them had this little trio, but Melinda and Alicia became so much more when they got older, and then Ruby meets the 3 of them in the first book, and then her and Alex I have like a lot planned for this series. Like it's going to go for at least 10 books, and I might make it longer if I have more ideas for it once I get there. Right now it's just 10 books, but Ruby and Alex get really, really close, and it's not just a friendship to lover, it's also a really slow burn, and I love it. Number 9, Spectra and Porter, and enemies to lovers, because they didn't exactly get off on the right foot. I have 2 planned. Jasmine and Jax from, well, that one's already been done, but Jasmine Press series, and then Evelyn and Valerie from, I forgot what the book name is. Oh yeah, okay, that's what it's called. Alien Planet 3 or 4, I think it's called. That's the name for the first book. I don't know the series name. It's a fantasy, but there is a spot of sci-fi, which is new territory for me, but there is an alien character. But there's an alien character, a skeleton character, a vampire character, and I don't remember the 4th one now. Witch. And Valerie, dragon. Not witch, because I do a lot of witches. So I decided, dragon, alien, vampire, and skeleton. Valerie, I think, is the dragon, and Evelyn, I think, is the skeleton, if I remember correctly. I haven't worked on it in a while. I'm not very far into it. 10. Catty and Pharaoh, a couple who has challenges to face to be together. Well, they had a lot of challenges because Pharaoh was actually Seth Ptolemy, who was supposed to marry Cleo Denial, so they can put those 2 powerful families together and create this epic, powerful family. But then he meets Catty and falls in love, and yeah. I went with Skylar and Will from The Curse's Light because they start out as friends, but things become a bit complicated in their life. Will ended up liking this one girl he met who wasn't who he thought she was, and then yeah, and other complications which you'll get once we get there. Let's see, and Anastasia and Vivian, because that's from Tales of the Grim Reaper. Anastasia is a skeleton and Vivian is a human, so that's complications written all over it. 11. Draculaura and Clawdeen, your favorite close-knit friendship. So Ruby and Melinda from what's it called? Crap, my mind just keeps drawing blanks today. A Witch's Bond, because they become really close friends. And then Ember and Maybelle from the book with the fairies and mermaids. 12. Ghoulia and Cleo, an underrated friendship. A friendship you should focus on more. For me, it's Rosalinda and Anna from Power Within, or yeah, that's the one. They become really close friends. I mean, they already knew each other and liked each other, but they weren't really friends. For complicated reasons. Rosalinda was just going through a lot and tried to push everyone away, but then she realized she didn't want to push Anna away anymore, so she let Anna in and become friends with her. And I do want to focus on that friendship a little bit more than I have. And yeah. Number 13, Spectra and Kiyomi, a friendship that lasts through childhood. So I went with Melinda, Alex, and Alicia because the three of them have been best friends since they were really little, and they've remained friends all these years. 14, Frights, Camera, Action, a journey your character has to go through to find themselves and become everything they were meant to be. Jasmine Perez, obviously, and Anastasia from Tales of the Grim Reaper. She has this whole journey of she was trying to find, when she first came back as a skeleton, she was trying to find her purpose, because why was she brought back? But then there's this whole war, and then she ends up forming this skeleton rebellion with her and other skeletons who want to stop the Grim Reaper from taking over the world, who's also someone from her past. Great Scary Reef. Does your character have a homecoming? Was it everything they had expected? Not homecoming like a homecoming dance, like if they were away from their home for a while and then return to their home. Jasmine and Ruby both do. Jasmine had to return home to finally defeat Lilac, and it didn't, and everything was different, and it didn't exactly feel like her home anymore, but then she realized it never really did feel like her home in the past. And then Ruby does return to Australia, which is her home, because she needed to get away from some things that her life had become, and it was everything she had hoped it would be. 16, Haunted, a character who isn't who they appear to be, because of the Red Lady. So I chose Cassandra, Ruby's mother from A Witch's Bond. And is that all I have for that? I came up with another one, but I didn't write it down, so now I forgot. Okay, moving on. 17, Ghouls Rule, your most Halloween book. So I write fantasy, so all my books could be Halloween-esque, but I'm gonna go with A Witch's Bond because of the witches and covens, and it does have Halloween in it a couple times. And Skeleton Bride because of the skeletons and Grim Reaper. So 18, Friday Night Frights, your most female-empowered book/character. I always have my main character, my MC, be a strong, empowered female character. So, all of them. Number 19, Normies, a human who got mixed up in creatures' battle. So, Will from The Curse is Light, Alex and Alicia from A Witch's Bond, and Vivian from, what's it called? My mind just not here today. Tales of the Grim Reaper. And then 20, Monster High, your favorite setting you wrote. Jasmine Press series, because I love the realm I wrote, because I wrote an entire realm for Jasmine. And then the Fairy and Mermaid book, because I love both of these settings, the mermaid setting and then the fairy setting. And they're like right next to each other, but like the fairy setting is in this gorgeous, stunning, magical forest, and then the mermaids is in this underwater kingdom. So yeah, so that's all for this video. I will tag Robin from the book Wormhole and Claire from Claire D. I hope you guys do this video. I know you both love Monster High as much as I do, and you're both writers, so I can't wait to see your answers when you do this. And please like and subscribe and comment your answers, or do this tag, because if you want to, I tag you. And that's all for this video, and I'll talk to you guys later.